digital era of the last 25 years may have started off as an improved and welcome change to the monotony and struggles of daily life, but as we now know, it just as quickly ended up bringing along a plague of subconscious monotony and struggles now too difficult for the unaware consumer to overcome. This plague's main symptom isn't something to take lightly either. It's one of wasted life. In this era, we've become so caught up in our digital alliances that we are burning through large fractions of our lives simply consuming and existing, while our brains and products reward us for it. We have become the product. Guy Debord wrote a book called Society of the Spectacle in 1967 that I highly recommend you read. It gave me the foundations for this video idea, and in my eyes may be one of the most essential roadmaps for understanding the digital revolution's intention. In it, he entailed that media and pop culture were going to become a capitalistic trap to turn the consumers into the product, creating a black hole of distraction and disillusionment with everyday life. Debord also said that the world already possesses the dream of a time whose consciousness it now must possess in order to actually live it. This is exactly the late-stage outcome of the influencer-consumer relationship. Someone who sells an idea of a life, an idea of a persona moreover, to inspire others to consume this lifestyle and feel connected with what they see on the screen until they try to emulate it for themselves. The more successful they are at emulating, the more likely they become an influencer as well, preaching the same lifestyle as the last, erasing originality and erasing individualism as we know it. While these influencers and algorithms are running rampant through our lives, one might think someone would at least benefit from all of this, either the influencer or the influenced. Yet I personally don't think anyone benefits. On one hand, you could say the influencer is playing the game and making a living based off it by spreading their lifestyle, but the issue is they are now commodifying their life. They are a capitalistic outlet, selling out for brand deals, sponsorships, styles, posts. They are equally as enslaved to the spectacle that Debord wrote of as much as the consumer. They no longer have access to their inherent individualism as they must sell themselves to an image, a summation of their values and ideals. One cannot assign an identity through appeasing capitalism. The occupation of a lifestyle influencer is an oxymoron in that sense. On the other hand, the consumer of this content may feel enriched, feeling a sense of learning, acceptance, and other dopaminergic responses through their indulging in specified content. While such a spectrum of positive responses could be considered a large benefit, despite the alarming amount of research done on the negative effects of doom scrolling on mental health, the consumer is also unknowingly forfeiting a far more valuable commodity that we could all agree on vastly outweighs any redeeming good. The consumer forfeits being alive. I realize that this may sound simple, the whole go outside and touch grass narrative, but to realize the life you have always dreamed about, you need to realize that in that life you don't dream about anything else. We need to disconnect from the systems in place that have us romanticizing seeing life through a lens. We need to take back the feeling of looking out of our own eyes with our own thoughts. Life has infinite possibilities, yet we all feel the need to abide by the codes in place that display what they are. We are all subject to some form of micro-manipulation that changes how we see ourselves in our life. Adam Alter talks about this in his book Irresistible. So many of us are convinced that life has this archetypal nature, that it must conform to similarities of others or go down a predetermined path. It does not. The first step to realizing what you are giving up by being addicted to your feed is to realize that everything you didn't have to actively look for is specifically recommended for the purpose of selling you on something or buying your time in the same facet. Social content is gambling with your individuality and your life, and you don't even know it. This has always been a problem to some extent. When Debord wrote his book, he was talking about movies and cinema. Even before that, you could argue that your life perspective is indoctrinated by too much reading, too many old cartoons, propaganda posters, etc. The key differentiating factor to these is that they were selected by the user. It was sought after. If anything, that helped enhance individuality in life by instilling our tastes, our loves, and our passions. The problem with the digital age is that it feeds us exactly what we know we want endlessly until it can manipulate what we want without us knowing. At a certain point, you go into autopilot and trust whatever comes up next to be something you want. The Filter Bubble by Eli Pariser is a good read on this matter, as he talks about the inner workings of invisible curation and how the algorithm we are fed is built to destroy our agency into what we want, as well as how our algorithms feed us down predetermined paths of segmentation into who it thinks we are. We are being turned into a certain type of person by our phones and being trained to think the same way as our peers. That is where the difference in the digital age of content lies. Not only is it tragic for our autonomous freedom, but it is tragic for our usage of life. We have maybe 77 years if we are lucky, and to have that spent being forced to fit into the mold of a computer and forced into a feedback loop of consumerism is nothing short of disastrous. I will leave you with this as a way out. Memento Mori. This is a Latin term that was made popular by famous Stoics and Roman philosophers. It means to remember your death. The more we realize that hours are ticking on the clock, the more we realize we have about 4,000 weeks since birth to live, the more we force ourselves to look in a mirror and say, I'm content with my purpose, the more of a chance we have at willfully reclaiming our true autonomy. I'm not saying to disown your phone, but I am saying to attempt to be more mindful of how to use your time and who to let judge the world for you. Even this video may judge the world for you. That is not the goal. I want everyone watching to think for themselves, use your best judgment, and follow your passions instead of your perceived passions. Do the hard things in life that make you feel best. Do not let your mind be infiltrated. Do not cut your days short. Every hour you go without consuming something is one more hour that you have truly lived, even if all you do is sit and stare. Stay away from the spectacle. Memento Mori. If you made it this far and are interested in the subject matter, here are all the books I use to pull all of my sources from. And then on top of that, if you like this video, I'll be posting some more. Have a good one.